everybody. Welcome to another edition of The Hot Seat for the C-Suite. I'm the host with the most, ADHD, and that's why we skip all the fluff, background, and stuff that drives me and people like me crazy. And instead, we bring in the CEOs, we ask 7 direct questions, and we leave 60 seconds for them to answer. So there's no blathering on or adding a bunch of BS in there. No fluff, hype, BS. That's what this show is all about. With that, I am excited to introduce today's guest for the hot seat. Sage Wohns is the CEO of Jericho Security. Welcome, Sage.
Great to be here, Stephen. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Okay, so here we are. You're hailing from New York, and we're going to get right into it. So we have 60 seconds on the clock to answer these questions. Of course, if you go a little bit over, no big deal. If you go a little bit under, no big deal. The idea, obviously, is just to have really succinct answers. Okay, here we go. So the very first question is, Jericho Security, what is the problem they are solving, and who are you serving? Go.
We're now in the age of AI attacks, and either your workforce is either your greatest vulnerability or your greatest defense. And the key is moving from, checkbox training to dynamic, human-centered, AI-enabled readiness. That is what we do.
Wow. Okay, 20 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Current reigning champion of question number 1. Let me reset that clock. All right, question number 2, the opportunity. How big is this opportunity? And I guess why it matters now is self-evident, but how big is the size of the opportunity for you, whether that's market cap or how many customers? How do you quantify that?
Yeah, so let's say you have 1 million listeners listening to us right now. 200,000 of them, according to the Verizon data, will be breached in the next year. And that can be catastrophic. The average cost of a breach is now $3 million. And I don't know about you, but that's catastrophic for most people now. And
Sure
that's only getting worse. And it will affect everyone that's listening to this too, because just at the end of last 6 months of 2024, voice phishing went up 400%. Since the launch of ChatGPT in the first year, unique phishing emails went up over 4,000%. I don't think anything else rose by 4,000% in that window. These are catastrophic numbers that can be absolutely detrimental to anyone who's at the recipient of it. And now it looks like we all are.
If you've been living either under a rock or for whatever reason haven't heard the term phishing, for those of you, that is when a online fraud, scammer, et cetera, is using a technique, a strategy to pull information from you, right? Your passwords, your bank account, et cetera. And they're becoming much more sophisticated. And now, as what Sage just said, is voice phishing means rather than receiving an email or a text, you're actually receiving a phone call. And now that voice synth is so good, it actually sounds like a human on the other end saying, hey, this is your bank, and there's a problem. And so if you could confirm your social security and, what's that bank account number again, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, that is a huge problem. And it's not just for old folks, I think is the point. And now companies and sophisticated people are becoming vulnerable. All right, terrific.
Also,
thank you, Sage. So what is your solution to the problem? What is your AI unique solution? And you might want to mention whether that's natively built from the ground up or is AI augmenting a system that already existed? Go.
Absolutely. So the mantra for us is attack, educate, defend. So we simulate nation state level attacks. Our largest customer is the federal government for us. And we work with several other foreign governments too, friendly ones, to be able to simulate the attacks that they're seeing. And now you've seen in Japan, there was a call to arms. They're actually authorizing offensive use of cyber for the first time in their history. And then in Singapore, similarly, their PM had a similar call to arms. We are working with multiple friendly governments to be able to help protect them like we are with the US government. So attack is the first part. So we simulate those attacks. Education is we create targeted, dynamic, and personalized education based off of where people are vulnerable to be able to educate them at the time of attack how to best protect themselves, and also to educate them about where they are vulnerable. And then lastly, we have probabilistic defenses that can then protect people from this new wave of attacks, because the old solution of rule-based systems, there are no rules anymore. The form of attack is proliferating at an unprecedented level with a high precision. I stopped because of the 1 minute mark there. Happy to go on.
You absolutely could go over. You absolutely could go a little
We've
over.
got rules here. I like the rules.
No, it's good. And actually, that's what I was looking for, is that it's not just that you are, or I want to make sure I'm getting this right, that you're not just simulating the attack and then creating the education around what they need to have done, look out for, how to respond, et cetera. But you're saying there's also a suite of tools that in and of itself is a layer of protection. Beyond the education of the human, there's some technology to prevent catastrophe.
Exactly, exactly. And it's actually trained off of the attack data in an AlphaGo style loop. So if you remember AlphaGo from, God, 7, 8 years ago now, it got really good at playing Go, the best in the world, by playing against essentially versions of itself. And so
Okay.
we see that opportunity in cyber warfare too, where it can attack and learn from its attacks in order to become the best at attacking and the best at defending.
Makes sense. Question number 4, traction. So you've already mentioned that you have the U.S. government and other
Yes.
governments as customers. So that's clearly traction. Let's hit the button here on my 60 seconds and talk to us about the how else you're describing the traction you guys are having.
Yeah, specifically, at the government level and then across regulated industries, finance, healthcare, and manufacturing. Those are our largest 4 areas. But we're also seeing an opportunity because these attacks are affecting individuals to do a B2B2C approach, where some of our largest partners are actually distributing us to their direct clients, which is an actually explosive opportunity. Like any holder of cyber insurance, we're partnered with one of the largest cyber insurance providers in the world to be able to protect their clients from the new wave of generative AI attacks.
We have 20 seconds left, so I'm going to use that with a follow-up question. Does that mean that you could possibly see a roadmap where you yourselves are offering a consumer version, not necessarily through your clients, then being resold or redeployed to their clients, but that you directly would go to the consumer, or is that not necessarily on the roadmap?
Absolutely. One of the major differentiators that we see here is that we're the only freemium offering in this place, in this space. So people are able to just sign up and start using us immediately. And democratizing access to this technology is really important. We have a moral imperative to do that, hence why we prioritize that work.
That's great. Okay. What is the long-term vision for Jericho Security beyond the success you're having, the traction you're having right now? But if you're looking out, whether it's 5 years from now, 10 years, or exit strategy, what does that look like?
So it goes back to that AlphaGo for cyber warfare, where and the new plane of warfare is existence now. Cybersecurity is a term that we all use today, but the next phase is really cyber warfare, where people are being attacked on a personal or professional level consistently every day. And that's what we're already seeing today. And no one's there to protect them from this. So our mission is to protect the world from these new generative AI threats. And we're going to accomplish that by, attack, educate, defend. Across the board, wherever we're seeing a new attacks, we're going to simulate that, use that data to train those defenses, and be here to protect the world from those attacks.
Pretty cool mission. Let's talk about the obstacle to that mission. What's the biggest challenge? Is it compute power? Is it cost of cloud services? Is it AI talent that Meta is now offering billions of dollars to try to secure the greatest minds? What's the biggest challenge in achieving your vision of growth and penetration of the market?
It's really distribution, making sure that we get this out there fast enough to be able to prevent these attacks. Like I said, over the past 3 months, there's been over $1 billion worth of damage across 3 countries that we're working very closely with: Korea, Singapore, and Japan. Those are catastrophic numbers that are affecting individuals, bankrupting individual companies. So what we're seeing is an immense opportunity to be able to protect those companies from that wave of attack, companies and individuals. So that's really where we're headed. We don't have enough, boots on the ground yet. So actively hiring.
I was going to say, are you reaching out to companies, or are you finding that companies are reaching out to you either because they've been struck or because a competitor has and now they're aware of it? Meaning there's a difference between, oh my God, we have a problem, Bob, go find a solution, and they're like, I found Jericho, or is it really like most companies, which is, you're knocking on doors and introducing yourself?
Yeah, one of my favorite things about cybersecurity is actually like the CISOs share information with each other, this chief information security officers. So if a breach happens at a friendly institution, it's not a secret. If they're performing well, they actually communicate with each other, or that information is available in the dark web or something like that, where we can see like this company has been breached. So the other similar institutions need to step up their defenses. So we see really strong communication between CISOs about that. We have a phenomenal CISO advisory board that helps inform a lot of those discussions. So if there is a breach in an industry, we can help protect them. For example, manufacturing was one of our fastest growing industries in Q1 of this year because of a major breach in that area. Usually it's finance because of Sarbanes-Oxley requirements and
Sure.
continuous breaches and attacks there. But we can see these spikes based off of individual attacks. For example, retail again, luxury resorts and cruises also. Just really interesting verticals. All of a sudden we see spikes in because of massive breaches that happen.
Okay, last question, Sage. What is next? What is something that you're either looking forward to announcing, whether that's either new technology, maybe an acquisition, strategic partnership, et cetera? Is there something on the horizon that you guys are excited about beyond kind of just the iterative growth that we've talked about?
We have a very exciting partnership that's going to be announced in Q4. That is going to be... it's been cooking for a while. I'm really excited for it, and it's going to be an absolute game changer.
Okay, and then we're not going to be getting any sneak peeks, I guess, on this program. I'm not going to be scooping it on the hot seat. That's fine. My 7 viewers will be okay with that. All right, Sage, we've gotten through the 7 questions, so thank you. I appreciate the fact that you prepared and you gave succinct questions. So let's talk about, it sounds like in terms of your ICP or cohort that it really applies across the wide range. So what we've talked about are industries, manufacturing, we've talked about governments, we've talked about kind of these susceptible areas of business, and we've even talked about individuals and insurance companies or other of your clients deploying this to their clients. So it almost sounds like this is for everybody because we're all affected, of course, by online security. But that is not how business works, right? So you've got to kind of have your either your low-hanging fruit or the center of the bullseye that is your ideal customer profile. And of course, from there, you expand to less ideal and less ideal. And yes, you might still be serving them. But for people that are possibly watching right now and thinking about the size of their company, right? Oh, we're 25 people versus we're 2,500 people. What is that kind of right down the middle bullseye ICP for you right now?
Yeah, so definitely by vertical, what I mentioned before with finance, healthcare, manufacturing, those are our 3 largest verticals. We have an interesting solution. Oh, sorry, please.
No, I was just gonna say, is there a certain size where you say, yes, if they're at like $10 million in revenue and above, or I don't know, whatever metric that you use to say, like, there has to be a certain size and complexity before our value proposition or ROI kicks in?
It's one of the reasons why we made this freemium, is that it really affects everyone down to the smallest businesses. Any holder of cyber insurance now has requirements from the cyber insurance insurers to be able to have a solution like ours. But previously that wasn't possible with systems that would take weeks to be able to onboard. I'm really proud of our 20-minute onboarding, and that's opened up to a very underserved community that's not protected.
That's great. Okay, well, now we only have a few seconds left to let you know where people should follow up with you. So what's the best place if they want to follow up, whether that's LinkedIn, your website? Let us know.
JerichoSecurity.com. You can sign up for a trial right there.
Perfect. We'll put that up on the screen. And with just a few seconds left, we pulled this off. Thank you so much, Sage, for being on here. Guys, go check out Jericho Security if you want to protect your butts out there from AI phishing. We'll see you next time. If you know somebody that should be on the hot seat, let me know. You can Google my name, Stefan Lubinsky, and find me. Sage, thanks to God, and we'll talk to you soon.